Well, hello. So in Excel, I am on the desktop version. I was playing around with some things. So we want a graph for this particular activity that uses a trend line or a best fit line. We don't want a line graph because we don't have data points that are going to give us a line that is a clean line. So because we have different data points, we don't want connect the dots either. We want something called the best fit line or a trend line. So how did I do that? Glad you asked. So I'm going to delete this so I can show you. So as always, your independent variable goes to the left, your dependent variable goes to the right. Make sure you highlight all. Oh, you want to give me problems on recording. There we go. So we highlight all of our data points. We go to insert. You can always pull these out so you can see them better. That's what that little arrow is there for. So even though this gives us some recommendations, and here's, again, a scatter chart with a connect the dots, this doesn't accurately represent a trend. We want a linear line to show us trends. We don't want connect the dots. We're not comparing, so we don't want a bar graph. I don't think I'd ever have you use this, so please never use this. And the reason why you don't use this, well, number one, our two sets of data are plotted here like they're both the dependent variables, and they're not. We only have one dependent variable. So that's not accurate. And I don't know what this is. Don't use this ever either. But we go to all charts, go to scatter. Now you have two dots here. We don't need this. Again, we don't have two dependent variables, so this is not necessary. We want this chart because this has our range, the correct range, our numerical range. Click OK. So now here we have just our data plotted. Great. The nice thing is now, all you do, you can pick any of these data points and right click. Oh. And down here it says add trend line. Boop. There it is. Now, and it pops up as linear, and that's what we want. Now, can you, see what things look like? Of course you can. But all we need right now is the linear line. You can always click on things and explore them. But for our purposes, when we have a scatter plot and we are looking, Spotify is always going to tell you to look for trends. We always want to analyze trends. So you just want a linear trend line. And boom, so we have a beautiful trend line. And you can see our data points. Here's our best fit line. If we had water that was pure water and all had densities of 1, we could use a line graph because it would be an accurate representation. But because there's potential for impurities and human error, you'll notice not all data points are on the line. And this is why we want a best fit line or this trend line, so we can look for anomalies. We can look for things that stand out and then analyze, well, why does it stand out? Obviously, there would be more data being collected, but this is just the very start of when things are analyzed. Why is that, 34 milliliters? Why is it above the trend line? Why is the numerical value higher? Why at 50 are we below the trend line? What's happening here that it's not fitting into the data? So that's why we do a trend line or best fit line. Now, here in the desktop version, you still have to obviously change your title and label your axes. You just simply click the plus and then go from here. You can make all those changes here. I hope this helps. Don't be afraid of Excel. Play around with things. This is, again, the desktop version.